Hey, so are you wondering how to create a double exposure in Lightroom and Photoshop? Well, this tutorial goes over kind of the history and then how to do it in Lightroom and Photoshop. Very important stuff to make double exposures. So what exactly is double exposure? A double exposure is two images, two exposures, two stills, you can say two stills on top of one another. Now, back in the day, they used to use film photography, and they used to develop these, and they basically put two exposures together. Now, this used to be called ghosting. However, today, digitally, we can do this digitally, and we can also do them on cameras. So let's hop into Lightroom here, and I'll show you what we've got going on. So I took a few photos with Pearl, specifically for this shoot, or for this double exposure. And there's a couple different ones that we have going on here. So if you are shooting, I'll give you some tips. However, if you're not shooting and you just want to use image, I would highly recommend going checking out Unsplash. So first off, what we have going on, some of the best photos were actually these ones where it's dark, she's dark as a subject, and the background is very light. Now you'll notice the clothing is also pretty white, or pretty like mid-tony, not too much contrast, which I wanted to do, especially with I believe this is cotton, the cotton frills, I want to say. But anyways, let's see. So go into here. So let's go. So here's an edited version of one of the photos, and then here's another version. So I'm going to go up here and go into, let's see, which one do we want to take? I want to take this one real quick here. Let's try. I believe I tried some of these ones on to try. So let's go with this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset everything. So it's just a raw photo. And I can already see what I kind of did here. So I'm not going to spend too much time editing this photo. But I just want this to be darker and this to be lighter. Both those areas. So I'm going to definitely bring up the exposure. So I'm just going and bringing up the histogram here, and I find this to be the easiest way, and I kind of want there to be like a nothing in the middle, you know, not too much in the middle. And what we can do is bring down the highlights as well, just to lower that, and do something like that. So the contrast, you can see there is a contrast there. And then bring that down, and we're just going to see how it ends up looking. So just do something like this, and then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to export it straight to a JPEG almost immediately. And here are my settings. I mean, it's not too much different. And let's go export. And then we're going to go, and I believe this is the second one, so it'll be... Okay, so now we have the exported file. So the other thing that I did with this shoot is I went out and got some images to lay on top. So I had an idea of using jellyfish, and so I have some jellyfish photos that I went to the aquarium for. You can also use previous photos or places nearby the image, depending on what you want to do. And I'll show you a couple different artistic ways to set up your photo. So let me see. So as you can see, in the background there, that is the final image that I worked on. However, let's go into 2022, double exposure here, and go in here. And then I believe it's this one. Yep, this one. So I'm going to just open that up in Photoshop. And there we go, we have it open up in Photoshop. Now the first thing that I'm going to do, I always like doing this, you don't have to, but I always press Command J, and this duplicates the background. That way I don't have to unlock it, I also don't have to rename it, and then I can name this whatever I want. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to open up my other image. Let's go to Photos, And here I actually exported all the ones that I wanted to use or potentially use, just so that it would go by faster. So I have a few jellyfish ones. Now this is, I have a few vertical and a few horizontal. If you ever have a horizontal one that doesn't match, I would just go Control T and then go rotate 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. And so yeah, so we have this image placed. Now this is 2 exposures, so you got the first one and you got the second one. And the jellyfish one is going to be a smart object. So we're going to go in here, and then now you can really mess around with the blending modes, but for dark images, I would use screen. And as you can see, you can go down here and just change the options for that. So let's go let's go screen here. Okay, and we already have a cool looking effect, so I'm gonna go rasterize. And this, I like doing this sometimes. It makes the project a lot smaller. So you can do something like that and just leave it as is. Otherwise, some other creative ways that you can go around this is you can go in here, unselect that, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press W, and this opens the quick selection tool. And then I'm gonna use the brackets to bring up the bigger brush. I'm gonna go over her real quick. Now there are some different automated options like selection, like auto select, where you just drag and it selects it for you. However, I'm honestly not very used to that. So you also want to get any strands of hair. So I'm going to go Z, and then I'm going to zoom into this part. Now as you can see, there's also a black spot, probably dust on my lens, that you might want to also get before you head into Photoshop, but you can also edit them in Photoshop as well. So hair is one of those things where you want to be very careful with, but in this tutorial I'm not going to be too much careful. Let's go in here, let's go to jellyfish. So we have the selection made. I'm going to go click the jellyfish layer and then hit mask. And that just masks everything onto that one area, this one area of pearl. And yeah, it's already looking really cool. Now what I would maybe do is go in here and go to, so I just selected the mask and go to modify and then feather. And then let's go 20. Probably delete this and then go back to this one and go Command I. And that just kind of gives her like a alleviated outside look of the jellyfish. And what you can also do is you can also add triple exposures to this. So say I wanted, there's not really many good photos that go well with that purple, but let's try this one, jellyfish one, and I mean, you can get some really wacky ones. You can also do something like that, where it starts to get very artistic. So yeah. Now I've seen some comments saying that this isn't real double exposure because you're using Photoshop, but I believe that with the tools that we have digitally, this is actually pretty much a double exposure because you're putting one exposure on top of the other one, and you're just doing it in a little bit different of a way. So this is Photoshop. You can obviously, so this is Photoshop. You can do this on mobile apps. I've seen it on mobile apps. I've done it on mobile apps, and you know, it's actually I would recommend going in with a plan if you're planning to do this. Like I had a little bit of a plan to do it, but I never thought I was going to go to the aquarium for this, and I'm happy that I did because I'm pretty happy with these photos. And yeah, just spend some time cutting out the edges, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to use those blending modes. There's more than screen. It's kind of just what your eye really likes. And yeah, other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching.